Most people are using AI to create digital products that sound like everyone else's. Same planner, same guide, same generic advice in a prettier wrapper. But the secret weapon is not asking AI to create the product for you. It's using AI to interview you first so it can pull a product out of your real experience. And today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. If you've ever asked ChatGPT for digital product ideas and felt underwhelmed by the answers, you're not the problem. The problem is the question. And when you ask AI for ideas before it really understands you, it usually gives you broad, generic options like planners, trackers, templates, guides, or Canva packs. Some of those can sell, but if you're over 40 and you have years of work experience, life experience, problem-solving experience, or hard-earned lessons, you have something more valuable than a generic list. You have judgment, you have context, patterns, and lived experience AI could never fake. And after 30 years in marketing, I can tell you this: useful products do not come from sounding like everyone else. They come from solving a specific problem in a way that feels clear, practical, and trustworthy. So in this video, I'll show you the AI secret weapon most beginners miss. Using AI as an interviewer to uncover the product hiding inside what you already know. And if you are building a slow burn business alongside a full-time job or real life responsibilities, make sure you subscribe, because that is what I teach here. Simple digital products, email marketing, and realistic systems that do not require you to become a full-time influencer. All right, stay with me, because I'll also show you the kind of prompt that you can use to have AI interview you instead of handing you another lookalike product idea. Now, the most valuable skill in 2026 is not knowing how to use AI in the vague, trendy way that everyone's talking about. The valuable skill is knowing how to use AI to clarify your own thinking before you create anything. Because there is a big difference between using AI to mass produce something generic and using AI to uncover the product only you could create. Now, when you ask AI to create something for you before it understands your experience, you usually get average internet soup. I know that sounds harsh, but you know what I mean, right? It pulls from common patterns, ideas, wording, and common examples. And that can be helpful as a starting point, but it does not automatically create something people should buy from you, because a product is not valuable just because it exists. A product is valuable when it helps a specific person solve a specific problem with less confusion. And for that, your lived experience really matters. This is where a lot of beginners get stuck, because they think,
well, I don't have anything special enough to sell.
But most first digital products do not need to be revolutionary. They need to be useful enough to help someone take a step that currently feels unclear, slow, difficult, or overwhelming to them. And very often, the best first product is not buried in some brand new idea that you needed AI to invent. It's buried in something you already know how to do, but have never thought to package it. That is what keeps your product from looking like it came off the same AI assembly line as everyone else's. Now, here's the mistake I see a lot of people making. They open ChatGPT and they ask, give me digital product ideas I can sell online. And technically, AI can answer that for you. But the answer is usually broad, bland, and disconnected from who you are. It doesn't know what you've done, what people ask you for help with, what problems you've already solved for yourself, what you explain well, what mistakes you could help someone avoid, or what you've learned from years of being the person who figures things out. So when you ask AI for ideas too early, you skip the most important ingredient: you. That is why I don't want you to use AI like a vending machine. I want you to use it like your secret weapon interviewer. A vending machine gives you whatever is already sitting inside of it, right? An interviewer pulls out the story, the process, the insight, and the useful details that you forgot were even valuable. That's the shift. So don't ask AI, what should I sell? Ask AI, help me figure out what I already know that someone else would find useful. And once you make that shift, the next question becomes much easier. What should this knowledge actually become? Now, I call this prompt the product idea extractor. And the idea is simple. Instead of asking ChatGPT to give you product ideas immediately, you tell it to ask you questions first. Now, this matters because most of us are too close to our own knowledge. What feels obvious to you may be exactly the shortcut that someone else is looking for. And that is especially true if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond. You have probably solved problems so many times that you don't even notice your own methods anymore. You may not call it a framework or a system. You may just think, well, this is what I would do. And that sentence right there can be the beginning of a digital product, because a simple digital product does not have to be a giant course. It could be a checklist, a worksheet, a short guide, decision flow, a tracker, a template, a prompt pack, or a simple planner. The format depends on what would help the buyer use the information. That's another place AI can help, but only after it understands what knowledge it's working with in the first place. Now, I've used this exact kind of process myself. When I was creating my beginner-friendly email marketing sales ebook, AI did not replace what I knew about email marketing. I already had decades of experience there. So what it helped me do was stay in scope, because I could have turned that book into a giant email marketing textbook if I wasn't careful. I could have wandered into strategy, copywriting, segmentation, automation, deliverability, analytics, testing, list growth, customer journeys, and 10 other things that a beginner does not need to know. But that was not the product I was trying to create. I wanted a beginner-friendly book that helped small business owners understand how email marketing can lead to sales without overwhelming them. So the value of AI was not that it invented my expertise. The value was that it helped me organize what I already knew and keep the reader in mind to avoid stuffing the product with every single thing I could possibly teach. That's a huge part of creating a useful first product. You don't have to prove everything you know. You need to help someone take the next clear step. And that's exactly why the questions you ask AI matter so much. So the simplest way to do this is to give AI a very specific role. You're not going to say, give me ideas. You're going to say, you are my AI product interviewer. Your job is to help me find one simple digital product idea based on my real life experiences, not generic internet ideas. That line alone changes the assignment. Then you tell it not to give you ideas right away. You tell it to ask you interview questions first. So for example, you want AI to ask what people ask you for help with, what problems you've solved, what mistakes you could help someone avoid, what you naturally explain, what shortcuts you use without thinking, and who you actually want to help. These are much better questions than what product should I make, because the answers come from you. So AI is not replacing your knowledge, it is helping you to see it. And that's the part a lot of people miss, because they think using AI means handing over the thinking. But the better use of AI is making your thinking easier to access. Now let me show you why this matters in real life, because this is where the generic AI answers start to fall apart. So let me give you a great simple example. If you ask AI for digital product ideas for beginners, it may suggest a meal planning guide. That's fine, but it's generic, right? Now, imagine that you are someone who has spent years managing meals for a household where one person has diabetes, one person is a picky eater, and the whole house is on a budget. That person doesn't just have meal planning experience. They may have a very specific process for creating simple dinners that work for different needs without cooking 3 separate meals. That could become a checklist, a weekly planning worksheet, a short guide, or even a decision flow called something like what to make for dinner when everyone needs something different. That is more specific. It has a real person behind it, it speaks to a clearer buyer, and it solves a problem that's relatable. Now, the value is not just in the topic. The value is in the angle, the audience, the problem, and the practical way that you help someone move forward. And that is what AI can help uncover if you make it interview you first. Now, I want to make this easy for you to test. So I created this simple AI product interview prompt that you can download, copy, and paste right into ChatGPT. And I'll link it for you down below in the description. The prompt tells ChatGPT not to give you the product ideas right away. Instead, it tells it to interview you first, ask you 7 questions about your experience, look for patterns in your answers, and then recommend 3 simple digital product ideas based on what you actually know. Now, for each idea, it will help you identify who the product helps, what problem it solves, the simplest format it could take, and why that format makes sense. And this is intentionally not complicated. The goal is not to build your entire product in this one prompt. The goal is to help you uncover one solid idea and the simplest format that it could take. That prompt gives you a starting point. It will not magically build the product for you. And I don't think it should, because if you're trying to create a product that people will actually pay you for, you don't want to skip the thinking part. You want help doing the thinking. That is the difference between using AI as a shortcut and using AI as a crutch. A shortcut helps you get where you were trying to go faster. A crutch does the walking for you. And if AI does all the walking, the product starts to sound like everyone else's. When you test this prompt, do not just look for the idea that sounds the most impressive. Look for the idea that feels the most doable. That is very important. Your first digital product should not be the biggest thing you could possibly create. It should be the clearest, useful thing you're excited to start and small enough that you can actually finish. So when AI gives you 3 ideas, ask yourself whether you could create a rough first version over a weekend. Can you clearly explain the buyer's problem and product outcome, help someone take one specific step, and honestly connect the idea to something you actually know? Now, that last question matters because AI could still try to make your idea sound bigger or more polished than it needs to be. You're allowed to pull it back. You can ask AI to make the idea smaller, make it more beginner-friendly, more specific, easier to finish, or better suited to a checklist instead of a guide. Those follow-up questions are where the real value starts to happen. You're not just accepting whatever AI gives you. You're using it to keep shaping the idea until it becomes clear, specific, and connected to your real experience. Now, once you have an idea, the next question is not, how do I make this huge? The next question is, what format would make this easiest to use? Because different ideas need different formats. If your product helps someone avoid missing steps, make a choice, reflect, plan, follow a process, or save time creating something, well then the right format might be a checklist or a decision flow, a worksheet, short guide, or a template. That's why I do not love starting with, I want to create a planner or I want to create a guide. Maybe that's the right format and maybe it's not. The product format should serve the problem, not the other way around. That one sentence can save you from turning a simple idea into a product that's way too big to finish. And this is another reason the AI interview method works so well. It helps you get to the problem first. Then you can decide the format. Now, finding the idea is one step, and it is an important step, but it's not the whole path. Because once you have an idea, it's very easy to do what I call productive circling. And that's where you keep researching, renaming, changing the format, watching more videos, keep asking AI for more options, and somehow you never actually finish the product. And I say that with so much love because I know that pattern really well. Now, at a certain point, more ideas are not helpful. More clarity, a smaller scope, a better format, and a finished first version are what's helpful. That's the whole reason I created the shortcut to selling your first digital product. It's for the person who does not need to take a giant course or develop another pile of ideas. They need help choosing one idea, shaping it into a simple product like a checklist, worksheet, or guide, and getting it listed for sale without turning it into a 6-month project. So if this prompt helps you uncover an idea and you think, okay, I can see something here, but I need help turning it into an actual product, I will link the shortcut down below. It's designed to help you move from circling the idea to getting something finished and listed, because the goal is not your flagship product. The goal is your first proof that you can do this. So the big takeaway is this: don't use AI to create the same generic product idea that everyone else is getting. Use it as your secret weapon interviewer. Let it pull out what you already know, help you spot what makes your idea different, and find the simplest format for turning that knowledge into something useful. That's where the real opportunity is. And if you want help thinking through what kind of digital product you could realistically create first, watch this video next, because I walk through simple, beginner-friendly product ideas that you can finish this week. All right, here's to your success, and I'll see you next week.